sounds like this. It's basically a pressure point in the back of your throat, like again there. Yeah. If you could do a rim shot like a yeah. So that's if you like use some air with this particular sound, you create a. That makes sense. Come on, guys. Okay. I'll just give you a little drum and bass. That's when you create like those offbeat rhythms, like falling back into like a small like slow beat rhythm, and then just cross into like drum and bass. And the interesting aspect of beatboxing is that if you want to keep it going, you need to have you need to change this a lot, like through time basically, because otherwise there won't be enough variation in your like vocal cords. It will start sounding similar to each other. So what I use is techniques as hi-hat and rim shot isolations, because if you have a hi-hat, basically, you guys can do a hi-hat. I'm sure you guys can do a hi-hat. Just say T, T, and put the accentuated T, 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 and now T. T, yeah. So you have that T, and then you unvocalize. So you have the basically. And while doing this, you can actually breathe in through your nose. Just to tell you guys that, like, it's possible. Yeah. And if you combine this sound, with a bit of air, you get like sounds like this. So next to that, I use hi-hats in combination with rim shots a lot. Rim shot is what I told you before, like that's the isolation that sounds like this, and folds into an inward snare if you use some air with it. Yeah. It's an isolation, so basically I don't breathe in, and I don't breathe out while doing it. I could breathe in or out, like through my nose, but it wouldn't have any effect on the sound, because I'm not using sound like air for the sound. So this rim shot is basically a tool for your hi-hat, because it can increase the speed of the use of your hi-hat. So you could basically go like. So that's an example of using those two things together. And apart from that, you can use your lips to do a different isolation over the top. And this is where it starts to get interesting, because this is where I start to build up like layering sounds in a particular way, where you cannot hear the difference between your ears and like actually the layer of the sound. So yeah, if that makes sense. I don't think it does. Yeah, I will just show you guys. That's
really glad. Look at that little spider over there.
Wow, that's really colorful. Yeah. So, okay, that's all right. Okay, keep that rhythm in your head. Now start off using those two things I was talking about before, rim shots and hi-hats. That's a little example, like how you could use this kind of isolation into like a double like layered sound with use of your lips and use of your tongue. It's like kind of why it helps each other is because with a rim shot you use the back of your tongue, and with a hi-hat you use the front of your tongue. So you need to see it as kind of a balanced out thing, like you have a stick somewhere, like that would be perfect. Like see this as your tongue basically, and your tongue is basically doing like if you have your mouth like this, your tongue is basically doing this with the hi-hat and this with the rim shot. So you go like, that's not nice. yeah. So you go like, no, but yeah, that works a lot better. This is a tongue, basically. So if you see this as your tongue, you basically have your tongue attached in your mouth, and you do hi-hat, rim shot, hi-hat, rim shot, hi-hat, rim shot, hi-hat, rim shot. Like kind of a balance point where you go like this in your mouth. To just try to explain it like on the easiest level, like with a little sandal or a slipper. Yeah. So after this, you could start vocalizing this isolation inwards. I didn't do that yet because this is where you add like another element into your beatboxing. Something I started doing about half a year ago. It's a technique I use. I don't hear a lot of other people using it basically, but it with a rim shot you can basically vocalize rim shots inwards, and that's a bit strange, but it is pretty logic if you just figure out how it works with pressure points. It sounds like this, just to give you an idea of how it sounds. Maybe from the sound you can get like an idea of how to do that yourself with your mouth and with your like body